I can remember that first cruise on the Wish, him just sitting in, in one of the little pools and he's just hooked to the screen and just smiling and laughing. And so, yeah, we go up to the pool deck and do the funnel vision.
Welcome back, everybody, to this week's episode of the DCL Duo podcast, brought to you by My Path Unwinding Travel. And Sam, it's jingle time once again.
Yes, I love it. Simply the best, better than all the rest.
All right, this week's review.
I feel like that was a better version than the last couple.
You were in harmony there. All right, so let me get the review out, though, Sam. All right, so this week review comes from Kendo from New Zealand. It's our one and only review from New Zealand, but we love it. And it reads, the pre-cruise info and enticement everyone needs. Hello from New Zealand. Thank you so much for all of your amazing episodes. I found your podcast about 5 months before we cruised on the Wonder in her first season down here in New Zealand. And your episodes not only kept us entertained as we impatiently waited for our sailing, but it gave us so many tips and hints. So we truly feel like we got the best out of our 3-night cruise thanks to your knowledge is what they meant there. And we loved it. The Wonder so much, we booked our next cruise within a week of our disembarking next time in concierge. So there you go, Sam. You did an upsell. You did an upsell.
We did. We weren't trying to upsell, but it sometimes does happen. I mean, we got upsold ourselves eventually, right? So, and now we've sold ourselves basically back to the with the regular people. I'm just joking. I'm joking. I love that we have people listening to us from New Zealand, from Australia, from over in the UK, from other parts of Europe as well. Yeah, it's really pretty incredible, Brian. I'm still amazed. I still think about when you came to me with the idea to start a podcast, and I thought it might last 2-3 months. And here we are, 6. It's like our anniversary, by the way, coming up in the next week.
Yes, we're getting very close. I think our kickoff for season 7 will be our live episode with Jeremiah, which will have already aired by the time this came out. But yes, we are getting ready to start season 7 of the DCL Duo podcast. So, all right, Sam. Well, let's head over to you so you can introduce our guest and our topic for today.
Yeah, I'm super excited. We've got a new to the show guest who's actually a Patreon in our community. So thank you for being a Patreon. I got to say that first. But we're excited because she sails on Disney Cruise Line, or has been sailing Disney Cruise Line only for a short period of time. But of course, she has gotten the bug. And so she had actually 2 recent cruises, but we're going to be talking today about Chanin's recent cruise on the Disney Dream. So welcome to the show, Chanin.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's so nice to have you. Oh, thank you. Well, we got to start with, of course, your Disney credentials. Like, where did your love of Disney come from? How did you get sort of started with Disney and then jumping over to cruising and Disney Cruise Line? Because I know you actually did your first cruise or 2 were on other lines.
So I've always loved Disney, the movies, everything. My dad was in the Air Force, so we were actually living overseas for most of my teen years and all that. But I can remember as soon as we came back to the States, I was 17 and we took a trip to Disney World. So that was, and my aunt lives in Florida. So we went and visited, plus we did a Disney World trip. And then I remember my 21st birthday, my dad said, where do you want to go? I'll take you anywhere you want to go. And we went to MGM because that was back when it was in 1992, whatever. So that's where I chose. And it's just always been something that I love to do. And then when my son was born, we took him for the first time when he was around 3. And then we went every couple of years. And like I said, I have family there. So we'd go visit family and go to Disney World. And my son is on the spectrum. He's autistic. He got to the point where he wanted to have every single Disney DVD that there was. Whenever we would go to the store, I would say, well, that would be my way to say, if you do something good, you can get a new Disney DVD.
Right, you can earn your Disney DVD. That's right. Incentivizing, we like to call
Right.
that in the world of parenting, right?
Right. So he loves Disney too. And so that's all about. And then we actually were annual pass holders for 2 years, even though we live in Texas. We stopped last year, but we did it for 2 years. And I think he got a little burnout maybe, but but now we're moving on to the cruises. I had never been on a cruise before, and it was me and my husband's 25th anniversary in 2023. So I decided to do a Norway cruise on Holland America. I did Holland America because I said my dad, was stationed in Europe. So we actually lived in Holland. And that was the only cruise I could find that was going out of Amsterdam at that time. So I picked Holland America, even though I didn't know anything about cruise lines. And it was nice. It was very scenic. But then when I started researching more, and of course, loving Disney, I took my first trip with our son in the spring of 2024 because I got the cruise bug. And so we went on the Wish out of Port Canaveral, and that was great. And then the next year we went on the Wonder out of San Diego. That was great. We did Ensenada and Catalina Island, which was really fun. And then I took a Royal Caribbean cruise with some high school friends last year in May. And then this last couple months, December, I took a work girls trip on the Magic out of Galveston. That was a lot of fun. And then, like I said, I was telling you, we were booked this January cruise, and my husband, I wanted to take my son for his birthday in October, but my husband's like, well, if you go in January, maybe I can go because, his work gets a little bit less busy in January. And I'm like, okay. So I booked the cruise for the three of us. And then the ice storm happened. So he ended up having to stay home. He was too worried about the house, which I was happy that he was able to stay home and still let me and Justin go. And I know, because it would have been
it would have been
really
a big bummer.
Yeah.
If you had to completely cancel. Now,
Yes.
how old is your son, Justin?
He is 24, and he still lives at home. People ask if he's high functioning, low functioning. I say he's in the middle. He has words, he speaks to you, but he's not very social. But he does love being around people, and he loves being places and traveling, and we take him as many places as we can. So he's very sweet boy.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Listen, we have the spectrum is a very broad spectrum, and there's lots of different people who fit on the spectrum. And I think it's wonderful when you find an interest that they love and you can really plan, especially vacations. It's nice to be able to plan vacations around that common interest that you and he both love. So I love that. I think that's really wonderful. Well, let's dive into talking about this cruise. Now, tell us anything in particular about the itinerary that made you book the cruise on the Dream. This is a 3-night that went to Lookout and Nassau. Did you it seems like you're doing a little bit of completionism, right? You all of your cruises that you mentioned that you listed off were all on different ships. So I'm getting the sense of you were trying to hit a different ship that you hadn't been on, but correct me if I'm wrong, because you had already been on the Magic, the Wonder, and the Wish. This is on the Dream. And then, but tell us sort of, why you chose this cruise in particular.
Well, I have chosen different cruise ships, and actually we've done all different ports as well. So I was like, well, this would be interesting. We hadn't been on a Dream class ship yet. And my aunt actually lives in Port St. Lucie, which is maybe a little more than an hour from Fort Lauderdale. So I actually got in touch with her to meet us in Fort Lauderdale to visit with her the day before we got there. Plus we had done Castaway Key, but not Lookout yet. So when I saw that it was going to Nassau and to Lookout, I was like, this would be perfect. And our very first cruise on the Wish, we went to Atlantis, and my son loved it. So I was like, well, we can go back to Nassau and do Atlantis, and then we can go to Lookout. And I figured that would be a nice 3-day. And I mean, my goal is to take him on longer cruises. I've been doing the 3-day cruises, and I'm really, really wanting to do a longer one next time. But this was a great for right now. So
yeah, are you sort of doing the 3-night cruises to like expose him to the cruise line a little bit more, and then with the thinking that when he gets used to the 3-night cruise, maybe it'll be easier to transition to a longer cruise. Is that kind of the plan?
exactly, yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very smart. There are some autistic people who you need to expose them to things in order for them to get used to it and for them to get comfortable. And they may be able to tolerate things in smaller bites than, let's say, a neurotypical person. And this is very individual. Obviously, when there's a saying, when you've met one autistic person, you've met one autistic person, right? Like they can be very different, but there are some commonalities, and exposing an autistic person to new experiences can be challenging. And so doing that in smaller bites can sometimes help for them to digest that bigger bite at a later time. So we don't have to do that as much with Nathan, but I will say we do a lot of talking, preparing for new experiencing and things. So like if we're doing something for the very first time, Nathan's not going to be like thrown into it with no preparation, because that might be a recipe for disaster, right? Like you just don't know. It depends what it is. So we do a lot of that kind of preparing. Well, let's talk about okay, your travel from Texas. Of course, you got this ice storm. You're traveling. It sounds like 2 days in advance, so you had like the full day to visit with your family member. That's awesome. Yeah. Well, and that probably was helpful in the midst of an ice storm. You just don't know like if flights and things are going to get canceled. Did you have any sort of travel complications or delays in getting there?
No, I think that we actually left right before the ice storm was going to hit. So we actually had a great flight and got into Fort Lauderdale with no problems.
Awesome. That's fantastic. Now, before you were going on the cruise, did you do any like pre-booking of activities, adult dining? Obviously, your son is an adult, so you could take him to Palo or Anshan or Remy, I guess, on the ship. Or any of the drink tastings, of course, as well. Did you pre-book anything? And then I want to also ask about like including excursions. Did you pre-book anything through Disney Cruise Line?
We went ahead and pre-booked the Atlantis excursion. I didn't pre-book anything else for him. He's very picky eater as well. So like I did do Palo when I went with my girlfriends in December, and it was amazing. But I was thinking, am I going to pay $55 for him to eat pancakes? Because that's probably all he would have. I mean, he's very, he loves pizza. He loves quesadillas. It's very, limited. But I've done that before. I have actually paid for character dining before with him, where I knew he was only going to eat pancakes. But this time I was like, well, let's just, wait and see. Well, and at first I was planning on my husband going. So I did look, but then I decided we would just wait and not do the Palo brunch this time. So, or the Palo dinner. Yeah.
I think that's smart. I think, with him, your better bet is probably brunch over dinner. There's probably more, there's a Mickey waffle, a very large Mickey waffle on that brunch menu. There's also the tomato soup on the brunch menu. There's, of course, pizzas. They call them flatbreads, but it's just a fancy word for pizzas, right? Like there are definitely things that he probably would eat. But yes, you'd be paying the $55, or I think it might be even $60 now, for him to eat that brunch. And that might not, I mean, maybe when you make your way to Platinum, Chanin, then when the meal is included, then that might be the time to take him to Palo, and then you don't you're just paying the tip. That's all.
It's a great plan. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So put that on, or when you go on another girl's trip, or perhaps a trip with just your husband or something. So, yeah. Well, okay. So that makes sense. You booked the excursion for Atlantis at Nassau. I take it you didn't book any excursions at Lookout Cay.
No, actually, it is really coincidental. A girl I work with had booked the same exact cruise, and she was with her family, and we had just planned to do a walk. Even though I know they don't really have the 5K set up, but we kind of looked to see. But that actually didn't end up working out. It's a long story, but just figured I would take him to the the water slides, the rush out, gush out, and the beach, and just enjoy the island for the first time.
All right, well, let's jump back forward to you get into the Fort Lauderdale area. Where did you guys stay?
We stayed at the Marriott Renaissance. That's right there, very close. We could see the ship outside of our window, which was really cool. But yeah, I have Marriott points, so it was pretty, easy to book. And like I said, it was right there. They had a shuttle for anyone going to the cruise port for like $8 a person. And that was really convenient too. Yes, it was good.
I love a good shuttle that doesn't cost a lot of money. Some of the ports are, very expensive for those shuttles. Some of the hotels charge you a lot for the shuttle, but $8 is probably cheaper per person than you're going to get for an Uber or a Lyft. So that's definitely a good option. All right. Well, what time did you head to the cruise port? What was your port arrival time as well?
We were 11:30. And so I think we got on the shuttle around 11. There was probably 4 ships that were going out that day. So we were like the last stop. So by the time we got there, we went in, and I think we only sat down in the waiting area for maybe 15 minutes, and we were ready to board. So it was good timing.
Yeah, that's awesome. The Port Everglades is definitely a busy cruise port. Now, it's not as bad or as busy or as big as Miami, but it's still like Port Canaveral, a very large cruise terminal with lots of ships that might be in port on any given day. But yeah, it sounds pretty convenient. And okay, so we've got to talk about your entry onto the ship. Now, this was your 4th cruise, your son's 3rd cruise, right?
Yes.
And, like any Disney cruise, you enter, at least at Port Everglades, Port Canaveral, most of the ports, you enter into the atrium or the grand hall with them announcing your family name. I got to ask, what were your first impressions of the Disney Dream?
I loved it. Like I said, the last 2 ships we were on were Magic and Wonder. So, a little bit bigger atrium, and I loved the chandelier. It was beautiful. We had Goofy there letting, when we came in, he was great. And it was great. I always think that's the fun part, is when you give them your name and you walk in, and it's like everything's starting. It's so exciting.
Everything's starting. Yeah, I love that too, because it really is. It's that special like moment where you're like, I'm on vacation. Like,
yeah, I know.
I can let the responsibilities of work and regular life, like I don't have to cook anymore. I don't have to clean anymore. Right?
That's
really
the
nice.
best. Yeah.
That's the best. Absolutely. Yeah. Well, what did you guys do? What did you and Justin do when you get on the ship after, of course, that beautiful atrium entry? Like, did you head to lunch right away? Did you have any things you needed to take care of with guest services or anything like that? What was sort of the plan of attack?
Actually, the first thing, I think Ariel was taking pictures right there on the 4th floor. Yeah. So we went right up and just went ahead and got pictures with Ariel right away. My son loves taking pictures. He is such a ham. So
I love that.
Even at the parks, we always get the photo package, and I always get the best pictures. So we went and did that right away. And then it was straight up to the pool deck, because he's picky with his pizza. He loves pizza. Some sauce he will like he likes Pizza Hut sauce, but any other pizza, he always wants it with no sauce. So I go up to the pool deck. I always ask them for no sauce. And I just say it's a preference, it's not an allergy, but they are always accommodating. And it just takes a little longer because they have to make it separately. And they give me one of those little buzzers. And so we went up. And then I think I tried the new, oh my goodness, I can't remember
The
well,
cantina.
cantina. Yeah.
It's Ramon's Cantina, I
Ramones.
believe, on the
Yes.
Dream and the Fantasy versus Donald's Cantina on the Wish class. Yeah. How was I will we have not been on the Dream or the Fantasy since that got added on. I got to ask how was the food? I mean, you had the Donald's Cantina on the Wish just like a month before. But yeah, what did you think of the quality and the offerings? Were they the same or similar to what's offered on the Wish?
Pretty much. I mean, I can't remember exactly what it was on the Wish, but it was really good. I mean, I got the like a chicken bowl, it was really good. And then the pizza is always great. So
Yeah. I think Disney Cruise Line has quite good pizza. I still think the Wish class has the best of the pizza. I think it's the crust just being like freshly made.
yeah.
But I think all of their pizzas pretty good. I mean, it's like, is it the best pizza I've ever had? No, but it's good for cruise line pizza.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it was great.
yeah. Well, that's awesome. Now, I love that you do the photo package, and we got to talk a little bit about the photo package because I think that that's something that people are constantly sort of racking their brain. Like, is it worth it? Is it not worth it? I'm guessing you booked it in advance, the unlimited
Yes,
photo package. Yeah. Okay.
definitely. Yes.
Yes. So I personally think that if you're going to take more than like 20 pictures, that package pays for itself, right? Because the onboard price is actually really the price for the unlimited is about the same price as like the onboard 30, I think 30 picture package, something like that. But like how many pictures would you say your son like will take? Let's say in a day. And let's say in a day, because obviously, like, yeah, and then mostly I'm sure character photos and magic shots with the backdrops and things like that, right?
Yeah. I mean, I'm at least 20, 25 a day. I mean, we go to all the different, especially like around dinner time when they have all of the photo ops, and he loves doing the Marvel ones and the Star Wars ones. I mean, so he's like I said, he's a ham. So we stand in line for most of them, and it didn't seem like the lines were that long for this cruise, which was good. Like I said, he just loves it. So we'll stand in line while, like, especially like that hour between dinner and the show, because we do early dining. And so they're always available and they're always really fun. So we love to do that.
Awesome. Well, and it's a nice way to get like family photos. Of course, if like your husband is with you too, then you get a photo of all three of you. I think it's like a great way to get for families to get pictures of their kids because the kids might not want to take pictures all the time, but like if there's a character or a cool backdrop or there's going to be a magic shot, right? There's going to be like Goofy or something put into your picture later. I think it's always like an incentive for, or the lightsaber photo. I think the lightsaber, you guys had that probably on your cruise. Yeah. Yeah, the Star Wars lightsaber photos are so good where they like pose you perfectly with the lightsaber in a few different poses with a cool backdrop. And yeah, I don't know. Those are just kind of awesome. I love them. Brian and I have done those a few times. I must admit. Well, let's talk about some of your like onboard experiences, and then we'll kind of jump over to the ports and talk about Lookout and, of course, Atlantis. I will confess, I myself have never been to Atlantis. I think Brian maybe went as a kid or something, but of course, it's a very common excursion location for NASA. And I have lots of friends who have been there. But yeah, what are some of the favorite things you and Justin got up to on board the Disney Dream?
I love trivia. He will tolerate trivia because he just wants, like, I do almost everything for him, but then I'm like, let mom do a little bit of trivia while we're here. But he's fine. He'll just sit there and relax while we're doing the trivia. Didn't do that. I never do that great, but I always feel like I learn something every time I do it. And like maybe next time I'll remember if they ask the same question next time. So, and then of course, swimming with funnel vision. That is his favorite. Like I can remember that first cruise on the Wish, him just sitting in one of the little pools and he's just hooked to the screen and just smiling and laughing. And so, yeah, we go up to the pool deck and do the funnel vision. I was wanting to do the mini golf. I really wanted to. And then it was always so crowded so we never really got a chance, especially with a 3-day cruise, because it seemed like we were always on the way to something, on the way to dinner, on the way to the show, on the way to the excursion. So, but that first day when we went up there, I said, Justin, we're doing the aqueduct. So, like, we did some funnel vision, and then I said, "Look, let's go ahead because I got to check all those off my list." So,
Yeah. Well, and you hadn't been on the aqueduct because you'd only been on the Magic has the aquadunk, which is that terrifying one that drops the floor out from under you. And it also has the twist and spout, which is also just the twist and spout is on the Wonder. So that's like a smaller yellow slide that adults can go on, but is not much of a thrill to it, right? But in order to go, like, you have the Aqua Mouse on the Wish class, but that's different from the Aqua Duck. And I really like the Aqua Mouse, but I will say a lot of people find the Aqua, when I ask in Rapid Fire, a lot of people find the Aqua Duck to be the superior one because it is a little bit longer of a water slide because you don't have that screen part in the front. So I think there's like two schools of thought, right? Well, there's three schools of thought. There's the crazy people like Brian who like to have the floor dropped out from under them. Then there's those of us who like a little bit of a storyline before kind of a shorter water slide. And then there's the people who just want like a full water slide. And so those are the three different options you've got. I guess I did them out of order, but whatever, you know what I mean. So yeah, what did he think of the aqueduct? What did you think of the aqueduct?
I loved it. He loves any type of water slide. He loved it. And then, but then he was ready to get back into the pool. So he's kind of more, especially like even when we go to the parks, he wants to do a ride one time and then he's good. So like we did it and he had fun and then we're right back in the pool. So
Love that. Love that. Now, you didn't have any sea days on this cruise. Well, I guess embarkation day is sort of a sea day, but not, I mean, it's only a partial day, right? So it is, as you mentioned, it's a kind of a packed cruise. In fact, if you had done Palo Brunch, you would have had to have done it on Nassau Day. So that would have been, probably wouldn't have been able to go to Atlantis or not gone to Atlantis, at least for like a full day excursion. But yeah, I'm curious if you felt like you had enough time to do the things that you even wanted to do, given that the sort of shorter itinerary.
Yeah, it was really tough. One thing that I was definitely going to do was the midship detective, because I was like, that's not on, and I didn't even know about the Wish. I had never even heard of anything like that on the Wish, and I guess they do have one.
They do, but it requires like a cell phone. So the one on the Wish is the Uncharted Adventure, which uses screens, but you have to use your cell phone with the Navigator app, and it's very, very glitchy. It's of all of the options available of like games, it's my least favorite. And it's on the Wish, the Treasure, and the Destiny. But it's the worst of all of them. And then you have, then you have Happy Hunt that was just recently put on the Treasure, and that's also on the Destiny, and that's the one that uses a magic band. Of course, all of these things use different devices or whatever. But then the simplest and best one of all, I think, the Happy Hunt is very cool, but the simplest and best one of all literally just uses like a cardboard card, and that's the Midship Detective Agency, and that's only on the Dream and the Fantasy. I actually wish that they would have put it on the Wish class. Even though I think the new game is fun, I still think especially because you've got three different storylines on the Midship Detective Agency. One is the puppies, the puppies from 101 Dalmatians are stolen, and you have to go find the puppies and figure out who stole them. And then there's one about it's like Mickey themed, but it's about stolen artwork. And then the third one, which is of course the best one and the longest of the one, you actually go to more. If you want one that takes a little longer, you want to do this one, which is the Muppets. It's the superior game of all the games, including within the Midship Detective Agency. Yeah. So which one did you do? Did you do the best one? Please tell me you did the best one.
We did the best one.
That's
yes.
Right. That's right.
I've listened to you, so I was like, so I had nothing to compare it to because we only had about 2 hours because it was when we got back from Lookout and
it
got
takes
cleaned up.
2 hours easily. I mean,
Yes.
you're zigzagging all over the ship, and you've got to hit like the screens, but you also have to get to Pepe's door, and you have to get to the what do they call it? The show board, right? So it's a lot to
That
do.
was fun.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so
And it,
glad you liked it.
and
What
it
did
was everybody else's idea to do it after Lookout as well. So it was very busy. There were kids running around everywhere, but I had a blast. It was so much fun.
Oh, nice. Did Justin enjoy it? I feel like it that could be enjoyable for him too.
He just has fun. Like, just he may not have really liked it as much as me, but just walking around and seeing all the people, and he likes that. He likes just being out and running around with us. So it was a lot of fun. Yeah,
Yeah. Boy, you probably got a lot of steps in that day if
I
you
did.
because I will tell you, we've talked about Lookout and the pier, and it's not just the pier, but like Lookout is also quite large. And so even walking from the beach to lunch and back and things like that, there's a lot of walking you might probably do at Lookout. But then when you're doing the midship detective agency, even if you do one of the shorter versions, so I would recommend for people with younger kids, do one of the other two versions, the puppies or the artwork. But you will literally zigzag across the ship. And so you'll get a lot of steps in. And I guarantee you'll end up taking the steps more than you take the elevator because it's just faster, to be perfectly honest. Unless, of course, you're somebody who has mobility challenges. But
Are you listening to our show because you want to make the most out of your next vacation? Great news, the fabulous team over at My Path Unwinding Travel can help guide you so you don't miss a thing. Their team of professional travel advisors are caring, knowledgeable, and experienced. It's why we use them to book our own travel. My Path Unwinding Travel is an authorized Disney vacation planner, which means they are recognized by Disney for their expertise and service. They have sailed on all the Disney ships, including in concierge, visited the theme parks, adventured with Disney, relaxed at Aulani, and so much more. Whether it's a Disney cruise, a theme park vacation, or Adventures by Disney, or if you are looking to expand beyond the mouse, My Path Unwinding Travel will elevate your next vacation planning experience. Even if you have already booked, reach out for a complimentary consultation to make your vacation even more magical. Ready to talk to the experts? Head over to mypathunwinding.com/DCL Duo or email dclduo@mypathunwinding.com so they know we sent you their way. Thanks, My Path Unwinding, for sponsoring today's show. Now back to the episode. What is your something about Lookout overall, and what were your kind of impressions of Lookout overall? And did you?
He does not mind the walk. We're used to walking everywhere, and I think I have a video of him. But we're walking on the pier, and he is just excited and laughing, and so he loved it. And then we're not really beach people, but he loved getting into the ocean. But the sand part, he could, give or take. But getting in the ocean, it was January, but it was actually the water was not bad. It was a perfect day. So yeah, we had a lot of fun.
Awesome. Now, did you guys end up enjoying Rush Out, Gush Out? You mentioned that was something you had wanted to do, which is where the water slides and kind of water play area. And it's an all ages area. It's not like there's a very small splash pad at Castaway that's like for little kids. And then, of course, there's the slides and stuff that are out in the water, so you have to be a decent swimmer to get out to. But yeah, I'm wondering what he thought of Rush Out, Gush Out, and what you thought of it too. I will say I've done the slides. They're big enough for an adult-sized person to go. I mean, they're not thrilling, but they're fun.
Right. Yeah. He liked it. We were there for probably about 20 minutes or so, and then we went ahead and walked over to the beach area. And it was great. It was a great day. We had perfect weather, I think. I mean, could have been a little warmer, but it was really great weather.
Yeah. Did you catch the Junkanoo parade at all?
We did see the end of it because when we got out of the water and went back, we were like trying to follow them, and we just kind of caught the tail end of it, but it was cool. Yeah, it was
awesome.
Great.
How did the food work out for you and for Justin on the island? Because there's not the same, you don't have all the options that you have on the ship, right? Like you don't have like all the pool deck food plus all the food in cabanas plus all the dining room food. You just have really these sort of quick service food places. Were you able to find something that worked for him as a picky eater?
We didn't. Actually, we went to the restaurant and had breakfast before because I know he loves those pancakes. And then I ate. And so we really just enjoyed the island and then went back to the ship and had pizza.
Gotcha. No, that
So
works. You got
I
to do what
know.
you got to do what works for you, right? That's why the planning side of things, and sort of obviously you kind of knew that going in, so you're smart to get breakfast. Like I will say, we often skip breakfast. We're not a big breakfast family. Brian and I will always have our coffee because that's coffee is life. I'm even drinking coffee right now, and it's like after 1 o'clock in the afternoon. But we will often skip breakfast, but we'll all eat on the island. But if Nathan didn't eat on the island, I would make sure to get food into him before going out to the island, right? Like you just have to sort of know that planning because I think the food on the island is excellent, but it's, because they've got, burgers and hot dogs and fish and chicken. And they also have these great, kind of like jambalaya rice dishes, but Caribbean style. But like it's maybe not great for a picky eater unless they're a picky eater who happens to like hamburgers or a picky eater who happens to like hot dogs, right? So yeah, it's a very smart planning tool for you, Shannon. I think it's great for other people to know sort of what options are out there and how to plan around because you can always get food on the ship. I mean, yeah. Yeah, and it's included, and everything on the food on the island is included too. The only thing that's not included is souvenirs and alcoholic beverages. All right, well, I'd love to talk about Atlantis because, like I said, while I have not ever been, and we hear about folks going, but I'll be honest, I feel like it's been a while since we've had somebody on the show talk about Atlantis. So you booked the excursion through Disney Cruise Line. What did the excursion include in that cost?
So it includes the admission into the park and basically the shuttle ride there and back. I think the normal price, like if you just were going to get ticket to Atlantis and take a taxi, is around 200, and then the Disney excursion was 240. But my husband was really adamant about like make sure he especially us going by ourselves. I mean, and even with him going, he wanted to take the shuttle. He's, just to be on the safe side and make sure, even though I have friends, I said, I have friends that take the taxi to Atlantis, but he's like, no, I feel better if you just do it through Disney. So actually I hadn't booked it until we got on the ship because I was planning on just taking a taxi with my husband because I thought, he would be there with us. But when he ended up not being able to go, I just went ahead I forgot about that part. When we did go up to Port Excursions when we first got on the ship and went ahead and booked Atlantis. And I to make him feel better, I went ahead and did the excursion so we would go on the Disney shuttle, it's perfect. I mean, they get us there quick. We went through the line, got our armbands for the park, and it didn't take very long at all. We were ready to go.
Well, it's a good point. I mean, there is an upcharge if you book an excursion. Like you could book a lot of excursions. You can book the same thing outside of Disney Cruise Line for a cheaper price. You can book it through Disney for a higher price that usually includes transportation. Sometimes the ones outside of Disney will include transportation. Sometimes they don't. It just depends on what the offering is. But when you book it through Disney, and this is like this is not to shame anybody who decides to book on their own. But when you book it through Disney, you do have that guarantee they'll get you back to the ship, right? So you don't have to worry about that. You also have a situation where if your port does get canceled, you are not stuck with having to cancel the excursion. Disney cancels it for you and you just get refunded your money. So it does create that sort of ease of booking, canceling, that sort of a thing when you're doing it through Disney with that guarantee that you'll get back to the ship. I'd love to know what is available at Atlantis. I know there's like a casino there and there's an aquarium there, but like what else do you get access to when you're doing this excursion?
There's also lots of shops. And I know. And then when you go into Atlantis to the adventure park, you have all the slides, tons of pools. The best thing is their not so lazy river. I don't know if you've heard of it before, but like you go on that and you have waves in the lazy river, you have rapids, you have like little conveyor belts that take you. I mean, it's just that's our favorite thing to do there. But you also have access to the beach, and you can go down to the beach. And we didn't, just like I said, we're not really big on the beaches, but we took some pictures, and they've got tons of restaurants. But like I said, we probably we did wait until we got back on the ship to eat again, because the options were limited for him. But it's just a great day. It was probably in the low 80s when we were there, and the pools were heated slightly, not great, but it was comfortable, and we just had a great day. We were there probably about 5 hours. So, and I had never done the aquarium before. Last time we went to Atlantis, I couldn't find it, so I I made sure I knew where it was, and we would and looked through the aquarium. It was great. We had a great time.
That's the thing I have actually heard a lot more about. I feel like I've heard more about the aquarium that people kind of rave. My sister has gone there, and she said it's a fantastic aquarium. But it sounds like it's a really cool like water park. I'll call it water park. I don't know, right? It's got slides. It's got a big, a rapid lazy river. Now I'm thinking I want to go there. Now, did they include food? And I know you didn't eat there, but do they include food in the price, or do they include any drinks in the price? No, or is that all add on?
No, it's just the admission to the water park and the transportation. So
Gotcha.
that's
okay.
But it's worth it. I mean, and I always look at like how much am I spending per hour to go here? But I mean, it'd be different if you were staying there and you had it all day. But it's still, it's vacation. That money doesn't count.
Yes. Well, listen, you're paying for entertainment, right? It's what we do for vacation. Paying for entertainment, and you do that whether you're on the cruise or you're on an excursion. You're paying for the entertainment, right? So, all right. Well, okay. So you head back to the ship. One of the things we haven't really talked about is shows, and I have to ask you about the shows because the Disney Dream, of course, has Beauty and the Beast on board, which, as you know, prior to Moana and Hercules, I've declared, of course, that Beauty and the Beast was the best show on Disney Cruise Line. Now, I'd say it's still quite up there. I mean, it's hard. It's my favorite changes maybe every day now, but I love Moana, I love Hercules, but I also love Beauty and the Beast. I still think it's incredible. I'm curious, did you go to the shows? You mentioned doing pictures in between dinner and the show, so I'm thinking maybe you did. Please tell me you did.
We definitely did.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what
Justin
did you
loves the shows too, so we enjoy them. Yeah.
Yeah. I wish Nathan would go to the shows with me, but we made him go to Moana on the Maiden for the treasure, and we made him go to Hercules on the Destiny, and he liked them ish. I'll say he's not much of a show kid. But yeah, what did you guys think of the shows on the Dream?
They were great. We've seen the Golden Mickeys on the Wonder, and that's just such a fun show. I love it when they interview the people outside and the kids get to be interviewed. It's so cute. I love that. And then, Beauty and the Beast was amazing. The whole scenery, like the set when they changed the sets, and it's just so amazing. And the actress who played Belle was phenomenal. She was great. And then the last show was Believe, which I hadn't seen before. And I actually really like that one too. I love all of them. I mean, I'm like, you give me a show with Disney music and characters, and it's just, I know, it's the best.
I love that. Yeah, I will say, like, Believe is probably at the bottom of my list, but it's still enjoyable. Like that, even though I say like all of the shows, even the ones I put at the bottom of the list, which are Disney Dreams and Believe, like they're still enjoyable shows. Right. It's just they're not Beauty and the Beast, caliber.
Well, yeah, and it was having the genie. He's so funny, and I mean, I've seen Aladdin on the Wish, but that show with him, it was really funny. So I loved it.
Oh, awesome. Now, did you guys stay up at all to do any of kind of the late night adult things in what is that? In Europe, not Europa. It's the district
In the
over on
district,
the Dream.
yes.
Yeah. Did you stay up for any of those things, either the sort of music trivias or like Match Your Mate or other things to kind of watch or participate in some of those game shows?
The very last night I did, Justin decided he wanted to stay in the room and rest. Just like I said, it would be the same as if he was going to trivia with me. He would just kind of
You would just
not
kind of
really
sit.
enjoy it.
Yeah.
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 But they had Match Your Mate the very last night. So I went to Match Your Mate. My friend that was there, she was exhausted. So she didn't come. She was gonna meet me, and then she decided she was too exhausted, but I don't have any problem going by myself. And I went to that little pink bar, the champagne bar, and they had Broadway sing a man there playing piano and doing Broadway songs, which was really great. And then I went to Match Your Mate, and there was another show. Was it The Majority Rules? I think that I saw as well. But I love that kind of stuff. So I just told Justin, what's at me if you need anything.
Right. If you need anything, just message me. Exactly. That's what we do. That's what I love that.
Yeah.
That's what we do. We tell Nathan, like, we have iPhones. So we tell him, I message us, like, if, message us if you're, if you're leaving Edge and you're coming back to the room or whatever. Right. Or if you need something, of course. I think that's the best. Yeah. I think those activities, though, those adult only activities are really fun. I would encourage people, go by yourself if the rest of your party. I go by myself too if Brian's not up for it. Yeah, nothing. I mean, and frankly, even the trivias, you can go by yourself, and you can always join another team. That people tend to be very welcoming, and especially if there's just like a couple, you can join them and add another brain to help them maybe do better on their answers. So yeah, I love that. Well, is there anything we missed, Chanin, when we're talking about this cruise on the Dream that you can think of, either topic we didn't, we didn't cover food very much. Actually, I just realized.
Yeah, I was going to talk about our dining experience a little bit. So when my husband was coming with us, every time I've gone on a cruise with Justin, they have sat us with two other mother-daughter couples. So it's been like 6 people. So I have Justin, and it's always been an older mother-daughter couple, an adult daughter, which is great. We always talk and have lots to talk about. But this time, they actually sat us with a husband and wife with a daughter who is Down syndrome. So it was really, I felt like that was the perfect pairing for us because we had so much to talk about. She was the loveliest. She's 31, loveliest girl. And she was talking to us and letting us know all her favorite Disney things. And we had a really good experience. So I was really happy with that pairing.
Yeah. Well, and sometimes Disney makes those pairings like just, I think, randomly by accident, and they just turn out really, really nicely, really, really well. Other times, maybe it's more purposeful because maybe you've put something in your guest file that they've noticed and matched you up because of that. They do tend to try and match up people of sort of similar age groups, I have found, right? Like, so if they're going to seat you, if you have a child that's, let's say age 10, they might seat you with a family that's got a child either age 10 or 11 or maybe 9, right? Like, so they try to sort of pair you up in some category, but that's kind of nice that they paired you up with a family who had an adult child with a disability. So when you're traveling with your adult child who has a disability, so that's actually really nice because you're right. You might have more in common with those folks than you would just, some other random person. But that's wonderful. How did you find the dining, food wise both for you, but also for Justin? Like, how did it work? Because it sounds like, you special order for him on the pool deck, the pizza. What do you do in main dining for him? And did you find that whatever that was, they were able to sort of accommodate well?
So this is where it was really nice that we were with this family. They were platinum. So they'd been on a few cruises themselves. And I had mentioned that when we were on the Wish, how our waiter at that time, that was my very first Disney cruise, had said that they couldn't make a pizza with no sauce, even though that's what I know. And
Of course
I
they
didn't.
can.
I know. If my husband had been there, he would have probably brought it up
Insisted.
again.
Yeah.
I know. And so when we went on the Wonder, I didn't even ask because I just said, "Well, we'll just get his pizza up on the deck." And he will eat sauce. He just doesn't prefer it, and he's just picks at it. So it was just me for not being real assertive about it. But this time I was talking to this family, and they said no. They said no. You need to talk to the head waiter and let him know. But I actually talked to our main server. His name was Syria. He was amazing. He said, I mean, it was only a 3-night cruise, but he said, tomorrow I will have that pizza for him. It will have no sauce. So the other two dining nights, he had it ready for him, and he just had a more enjoyable experience. Like I said, he will eat the sauce, but he just doesn't prefer it. And so I learned something, and I'm like, from now on, I'm going to tell them that first night, and have it ready for the entire journey then. But I love the food though, so I've never had anything that I think that I didn't like on a Disney cruise. I think it was really a good experience.
Yeah. I think one of the things you have to remember, and this is for really anyone out there listening, like sometimes you have to try and advocate a little bit, because sometimes people will say, no, or I'm not sure. But then if you tell them, no, I know that this has been done before, like we've done this on a previous cruise and it was no problem, right? Like sometimes these things do take a little bit of advance ordering or advance warning, right? So like for yours, like the first night might have been, they probably could have done it the first night. It just would have taken a much longer time to do. But it's just, you have to kind of ask, right? You got to ask. And sometimes it takes a little bit of advocating. I think we've learned that as parents of a child with a disability, that sometimes you just have to like ask, and people will be very accommodating, but you might have to push a little bit. And so don't be shy. That's my best piece of advice out there. Don't be shy. Just
I learned it.
Yeah, be assertive and tell them what you need, and you'll find like 99% of the crew and cast will go out of their way to help you. There's a very, that's why I say 99%, because there are once in a while you get one of those people who's
but Sam,
no.
I need to honk the horn. Why won't they let me honk the horn?
They're not going to let you honk the horn. They're going to say no to that.
I'll slip them a 20 and everything in the handshake method, No honking the horn for me?
Not going to work. Not going to work.
That's frustrating.
Yeah. Well, is there anything we missed, Chanin, before I subject you to some rapid fire?
I think that's it. I wanted to bring that up about the pizza because I want other people to know that, what I didn't know. But yeah, it was only 3 days, but it was jam packed and it was a lot of fun. So we had a great time.
Well, Sam, I think we've reached that point in the show where it's time for a little rapid fire, or the round we like to describe as arbitrary questions, arbitrary rules, and way more than a dash of judgment. So,
just a dash, not way more. Come on.
Take it away, Sam. Take it away.
All right. Okay.
Should we get you a judge's robe to put on going forward?
I would love that. I would relish in that. Okay. All right. We're going to start with Disney favorites. Then we're going to move over to Disney Cruise Line, and I'm going to ask you your favorites. Again, these are your favorites, not Justin's favorites, not your husband's favorites, just your favorites. Okay. So we're going to start with who is your favorite Disney character. And as always, Disney means everything and anything that Disney owns.
It is Olaf. I love Olaf.
Yes, he loves warm hugs. So he loves you too. All right. What is your favorite Disney movie?
This is a hard one, but I'm going to have to say The Lion King.
Yes.
Seeing that in the theater, that opening scene, I still have a memory of that. It was amazing.
Yes, absolutely. All right. What is your favorite Disney song?
Can I say the entire soundtrack of Encanto?
Yes, you absolutely can because it's such a good soundtrack. And it's
I
not my favorite.
know.
I don't love that movie, to be perfectly honest,
Mhm.
but I think the soundtrack is killer. Like,
Yes.
I mean, but of course it's Lin-Manuel. So,
Lin-Manuel, yes. Yeah.
yeah.
I love
So,
him. So, yeah.
yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to switch over to cruise line. We have to start with the most, my favorite question, maybe the most important question. I don't know. We'll say if it's the most important question. I think the most important question is which is your favorite ship? But we got to start with what's your favorite stage show on Disney Cruise Line? And you can only choose from the ones that you've actually seen, not so you can't choose Hercules or Moana yet.
It's got to be Beauty and the Beast. I will agree with you because it was amazing. And I want to go back. I want to go see it again.
Yes, it's so good. It's like it's like the version of Frozen on Disney Cruise Line, better than all of the other versions of staged productions, right? Like it's better than the Broadway production, better than the production you'll see in the parks. Like just the Disney Cruise Line one is the perfect blend of like live action movie, animated film. It's wonderful. All right. We're going to move over to activities. What is your favorite activity on board a Disney cruise?
It's probably trivia. Like I said, I always learn something and it's just fun. And the entertainment staff is always, they're real great at it and they make it fun. So I love that.
Love that. All right. Absolutely. Okay. We're going to move over to dining. What is your favorite rotational dining restaurant? And the reason behind it can be because of food. It can be because of theming. It can be because of show. That doesn't matter. But which one is your favorite?
The original Animator's Palette on Magic and Wonder. We went on the Dream and the Crush show was cute, but I missed the Mickey and that whole, the drawings and everything. It was just so much fun.
Well, and you can get that on the Dream class, but you have to be on a longer cruise. So you can get Crush and Animation Magic, but you got to be like on a 7-night cruise on the Magic or not on the Magic, on the Dream or the Fantasy. So I see that in your future. Okay, we're staying with the category of food. So I have to ask a favorite sweet item and a favorite savory item. As always, we start with the sweets because savories are my favorite. We save the best for last. Favorite sweet item?
Probably at Pello Brunch, that almond croissant. That was amazing.
It's a really good almond croissant. All right, favorite savory item?
Also at Palo Brunch was the chicken parm and the risotto. Oh my goodness, it was amazing. I was with all my friends and we were just shared everything, and everybody was. It went first. I think it went for anything else with all the sharing. It was so good.
Love it. That chicken parm is delicious. People talk about the life-changing chicken tenders. I will contend life-changing chicken parm. All right, moving over to water slides because you have now been on all three. I'm assuming if you went on the Aqua Dunk on the Magic. Okay, so Aqua Dunk, Aqua Duck, Aqua Mouse.
I think I like the Aqueduct. The length of it's just more of a ride, and it was a lot of fun. Yeah, I'm gonna say Aqueduct.
Okay, favorite ship. You can choose from the 4 that you have been on, right? Magic, Wonder, Wish, and Dream.
It's hard because there's always I'm gonna say the Dream just because of the activities. And when I went on the Wish, it was our first ship, and I didn't know what I didn't know. Now I think I would enjoy it more because I would know more things to look out for. But the whole overall experience, I'd say the Dream. It was such a great ship.
Awesome. All right. The last question, Chanin, is your bucket list cruise. You can go anywhere in the world, someplace you haven't been on a Disney ship. It just has to be someplace accessible by water. It doesn't have to be someplace that Disney Cruise Line currently goes. Where are you going?
I think it would be great to do a cruise to the 3 Asian Disneyland parks, like go to Shanghai, Tokyo, and Hong Kong, and have like a layover in each, or like stay like 2 days so that you have time to go to the parks. I think that would be an amazing cruise. So yeah, that's what I would choose.
Awesome. All right. Well, you passed with flying colors. You get an A+. There was no judgment. You chose wisely.
Is A+ the max on your scale, Sam, or do you do A++? Or?
It changes every day, Brian. I make it up as I go because that's, I like to tell people like I make the rules. This is my show, right? The grading scale changes every day.
I live consistently in C territory, and that's
that's because you always pick the golden Mickeys, which is no shame on the gold.
I just want my statue. I want my statue for my desk. I want my statue.
I do love the golden Mickeys. As far as, it's not my favorite of the variety shows, but it's probably second after CC Adventure of the variety.
Maybe we can get Nathan to print me out a golden Mickey statue on his 3D printer.
Yeah, on his 3D printer. That's a great idea. I bet there's one on Bamboo Labs. I'm gonna go after this show recording. I'm gonna go check.
Well, we got to replace the nozzle on there. But anyway, Chanin, I'd like to know what's next for you and the family.
I have a cruise booked for September 27 on the Wish. I'm going to take Justin on his first trip to Europe. It goes out of Southampton to Norway, or near Amsterdam, and then Denmark. So, and it's a 7-day on the Wish. So I'll be able to see more of what I missed that first 3-night cruise. So that's, I probably will be on another cruise, by myself with some friends before then, because we're thinking about going next year. We're going to try and get into the Disney Marathon, and we're wanting to do a cruise after the marathon, which actually is the Wish as well. So I may be doing that before we go in September next year. So
awesome. Yeah. So you'll do like a 4-night on the Wish, Monday to Friday cruise after race weekend.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. Fantastic.
I think that would be great.
Awesome. Well, Chanin, thanks so much for coming on the show. It's lovely to have you and to chat with you about your sailing and to hear about Justin and what he likes on, Disney Cruise Line. That's always fun to hear about as well. And again, thank you for being a Patreon. If you, like Chanin, want to be a Patreon, you can find more out about it. Brian, tell them where they can do that.
Oh, they can head to patreon.com/DCLDuo.
All right. Well, awesome. So thank you so much for joining us. And of course, you're welcome back anytime.
Thank you so much. It was great.
Well, thanks to everyone out there for listening this week. We really, really appreciate it. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast. You can keep getting great content from us every week. In fact, twice a week we publish shows. So be sure to hit the subscribe button to get all of those great episodes. And if you want to watch us live, we have a live show now every week, Monday nights, 5:30 p.m. Pacific, 8:30 p.m. Eastern over on youtube.com/DCLDuo. So be sure to head over and check that out. If you want to help support the show, be sure to hit those 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. And if you leave us a written review, a 5-star written review, we will read it at the top of one of our main episodes. So please head over there and hit those 5 stars. Of course, you can also help support the show by supporting our fabulous show sponsor, My Path Unwinding Travel. If you want to book your next Disney vacation, head over to mypathunwinding.com/DCLDuo or email them at DCLDuo@mypathunwinding.com so they know we sent you their way. If you've got questions or you'd like to connect with us, the best way to do that is to head over to DCLDuo.com. It's got links to all of our things, full catalog of the podcast episodes, including a searchable catalog for the podcast, links off to our vlog, a link to our Etsy store where we sell some fun fan-inspired magnets, link to our Patreon if you'd like to help directly support the show each and every month. Just head over to the website or patreon.com/DCLDuo. Also has a way for you to sign up for our Substack newsletter that we're hoping to start really pumping out monthly here at least, and a few blog articles that we've written. So DCLDuo.com is the best way to connect with us. You can also, of course, email us at info@DCLDuo.com or reach out to us on our voicemail line at 402-413-5590. That's 402-413-5590. The DCL Duo podcast is not affiliated with Disney Cruise Line, the Disney Company, or the Disney family of theme parks. The views expressed on the show are solely those of the individuals on the podcast and in no way reflect the views of the Disney Company or Disney Cruise Line. If you have questions about a Disney cruise or a Disney vacation, please contact the great folks over at My Path Unwinding Travel or Disney directly or your own travel agent. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time for another fabulous adventure with the DCL Duo. Good night.